it's an opportunity for us to share out what we've been up to, so that you can see what that is, and if there's things that excite you, you can get engaged, and you can also offer feedback on that. Andy, if you could give me the next slide, please. There we go. So we're all here because, we all believe that, river systems are, vital, intrinsically interesting and have their own value. They're also vital to society. They're also complex and difficult to understand and require an interdisciplinary approach. And the next slide, please, Andy. We also all feel that in order to create the stewards and practitioners and managers and scientists that are necessary to meet the challenges facing freshwater systems, we need to be able to get our students out in the field. And yet there are a lot of challenges that we have to overcome in order to be able to do that. And so the River Field Studies Network really kind of addresses the crisis facing river, and then also the crisis facing, field studies in general, and being able to do those well. And so that's where we're coming from. And we try to do that by addressing the following broad objectives. Next one, Andy. We try to build instructor capacity. So we're focused on people who teach in the field and helping them to develop their capacity for, thinking about experiential education pedagogy, introducing them to new lab skills, new pedagogical skills, helping create, giving them opportunities to practice teaching in the field and best practices of teaching in the field. And then the next one is focused on broadening participation through partnerships with a variety of other organizations, both trying to increase the broaden participation at the instructor level, and therefore through that also, reaching a broader student audience as well. Next, Andy. Also, we have a very strong focus on, safety, health, equity, and inclusion in the field. What are best practices for safety in riverine environments, both physical safety, emotional safety, and well-being, and how does diversity, equity, and inclusion factor into that? Next slide, please. And we also want to create open source content, lesson content for everyone to use to kind of lower the bar for trying to do river-based field education, because there are already lessons that are out there that you can use that will help you kind of like just be that much closer to getting that lesson out into the field. Next. And so those are our broad objectives, and the things that we've done over the last year to try to help meet those objectives or address those objectives. We offered 4 network-wide online workshops. Those are, we'll share these slides with you, and they're all recorded and they're all linked to this slide. We focused on exploring opportunities to connect river curriculum to current river protection movements in the U.S. with American rivers. We talked with Emily Ward from UFern in series about strategies for assessment and field studies. We had a pair of workshops focused around developing our own code of conduct and diversity, equity, and inclusion statements, which are linked here, that the entire network had the opportunity to contribute to, and our living documents. And then in the fall, we had a workshop for funding solutions for field courses. And so those were open to all network members, and there were 150 some people that participated in those in one degree or another. Next. A big part of our focus is our River Field Scholars Program, which is a focal cohort of scholars that commit to work with us for an entire year. And this is a screenshot from our key sort of big focal in-person event. This year it was held on the James River here in Richmond. And so what you're seeing here are the 2022 River Field Scholars who will be sharing their lessons with you later today. But also they did that in collaboration with VCU Footprints on the James class. And so mixed in here, you can see students from VCU and the River Field Scholars at the end of our in-person network activity here on the James River. Next. This workshop involved providing opportunities for the instructors. You can hit the play if it'll play for you, Andy, to develop safety credentials. So we had a workshop for the first few days, and all of the faculty that participated earned She's like, that was such a good throw. All right, we could probably cut it. Yeah, so everybody developed, they got a credential. You can go to the next slide, in Swiftwater safety. They also had an opportunity to, probably one of the highest bars in terms of a river fields class would be a river field class where you're not just out there for part of the day, but you actually overnight on the river. And so that's a pretty high bar. And there are skills that, many instructors may or may not be comfortable with. So we gave kind of a tutorial. We did an overnight river trip on the James River, and had a chance to sort of model and practice some of those, like, well, what does an overnight river trip look like? And try to kind of dispel some of the fear factor that there might be for that, and sort of see like how one might be able to do that at their home institution. So sort of modeling an overnight river trip was part of what we also did. And then a big part of what we did is the next slide, and this is what we'll hear more about today. And you can click this. They had an opportunity to work with the students from VCU to actually practice their lessons. So over the spring, they developed lessons, and then they got to try them out on a live student audience. So here's Luke Ward demoing his landscape lab. Students going out onto the James River, collecting data for his lab, and then coming back with their sort of spatial data, kind of debriefing.
I do see two different patterns, I mean, in this area.
We also did sort of classic stream ecology labs. Here. Doing drift sampling with the students.
Insects.
Her lab is one that will be introduced today with Liz Waring. Classic mesh bag, a litter bag lab. We saw some good critters. So did the students.
The experimental question of the day for you is, are there microplastics in this water right here?
Sarah did a microplastics lab.
There will be some things. There you go.
Jabari introduced us to field sketching and a variety of geomorphology techniques, measuring stream flow, cobble size, taking data on that.
Respiration and photosynthesis. Let's talk about the factors that change the amount of oxygen in water. I don't care if it's respiration.
Elise and Aaron led a stream, biological oxygen demand lab, which they'll also be sharing with you later today.
What's y'all's hypothesis before you run away upstream?
What did we say?
We're doing. Where are you going?
Funny versus shady.
So this one is super forested. Probably gonna have more productivity because there's more going into the system, and we have a lot higher DO.
Danielle introduced us to groundwater and looking for that using thermal techniques. And Z introduced us to rivers as socioeconomic systems.
I'm interested in a very specific geographic area. I know there's the mathematical equations for different parts of the system, and I can put all of those together in a computational model. So if you had your eyes closed, I invite you to open them. And I want you to take out your pen and pencil and just draw what was in your mind.
Mine is, I kind of wanted to get the water. I've always loved watching the way the light bounces off the water when it's moving, and so I kind of wanted to get it.
Thank you so much. This is really awesome.
And that was lastly Maribeth Niffin, and she'll introduce her lab where she made a connection between art and mathematical modeling of riverine systems. So that's just a few clips from the summer. You can give us the next slide, please, Andy. And all of those scholars are excited to share their, this is just, thanks. So these are the lessons. These are all published on Cubes, and they're available for you guys to use, and you'll know more about them after they introduce them to you later today. Next one, please. Another important component of what we did this year was we recruited next year's scholars. So we already have selected 20 scholars for the 2023 program. We had a threefold increase in applications. We had more than 60 applications this year. So that's exciting to see the increased interest. And we have faculty from all over the country. You can scan down this list and see that we have people from Illinois, California, Texas, Colorado, North Carolina, West Virginia, Georgia, Arizona, Kansas, Wisconsin, Idaho, Montana, Missouri, Oregon, and again, Colorado, and from community colleges to, large research universities, tribal colleges, and sort of a broad swath of instructors teaching field sciences across the country. Next up, Andy. We also, some other things that part of the network is, you hope that things emerge that you didn't necessarily plan for. It's like, bringing smart people together who are all excited about the same stuff. You have to have a plan, but you also have to be open for things that, good ideas that emerge, and respond to them. One that we're excited about is working together with another research coordination network in undergraduate biology that's just recently wrapped up, UFern. One of their leaders is Emily Ward. She's also our external assessment person with us today. And we're really excited to work with STEM education experts and to ask questions about, are there some unique benefits of not just teaching in the field, but teaching in the field on rivers? And how would we work with STEM educator experts in order to design questionnaires to start to ask those kinds of questions? And so we piloted using the Simmer database to make questionnaires, and we piloted them on some of the field courses that were offered last summer. And we hope to continue to refine that and as we move forward in subsequent years of the grant. Next, please. We also had an opportunity to collaborate with a humanities-based program at UNC Greensboro. This is the Cape Fear Watershed Project, which is funded not by the National Science Foundation, but by the National Endowment for the Humanities. And they are very much interested in the kind of watershed place-based education that we all are, but they're tackling it from more of a humanities perspective. And we were able to support their proposal to the National Endowment of Humanities and look forward to collaborate. They just were funded last year, and we're looking forward to collaborating with them as they unfold their project. Next up, please, Andy. Another exciting opportunity that emerged was to collaborate with the Society for Freshwater Sciences eMERGE program. eMERGE is their professional development program, sort of a diversity pipeline into freshwater sciences. And as part of their rigorous training program, they have a team building and sort of field activity before the society's annual meeting. And so this year we organized that for them. VCU's Outdoor Adventure Program and the River Field Studies Network leadership helped develop a 3-day overnight trip on the Pere Marquette River, and we helped them implement that. And that also gave us an opportunity to get some great feedback from them about how that went. So that was an exciting collaboration that we supported. Next up. And we continue to share out these resources through our webpage, and now even more so our CUBES web portal. We are actually in the process of revising our webpage. This is the current version, but there is actually already a new webpage that's not live yet that will give us more ability to, it'll be more WordPress based, so we can actually have more self-control and create more content more easily ourselves and engage the network more broadly in doing so. So that's one of our outlets for sharing and disseminating. We also gave a talk about the network, try to recruit it, and some of our findings from our national survey we conducted during the incubator at the Society for Freshwater Sciences this past summer. Next. And then some of our leadership have published this last year on topics related to river field studies. John McLaughlin's one of the co-PIs, and he published a paper seen here. And we can't really take any credit for this, but I just wanted to amplify how awesome they are. Two of our early career scholars who are in the river field studies scholarship program this year, who you'll hear from, Jabari Jones and Susan Washko, also published a paper about sort of the importance of STEM field education that we wanted to make sure people were aware of. Next. And then finally, just we had about 60 people on our membership list when we started the year. Sorry, actually we had about 100 when we started the year. We have 60 new members. So about a little more than a 50% increase in interest, people who have signed up for our mailing list. We now have 171 people listed there as based on our interest survey.